Right.
That's what they say anyway.
But I'm talking about home. What we can do for home reform.
Definitely, definitely. And it starts, of course, legislation starts at the platform level. And, of course, I've been having conversations with persons like Carl Dean. Carl Dean, because I asked, he put a promise in this platform.
Who Carl Dean
Carl
is.
Dean is running for governor.
Right.
Carl Dean said that while the state has already engaged private prisons and has a private prison contract, which let me try to go back and follow for you. The incentivization to lock up people are there's these companies, they're private prison companies. They lobby for tougher sentencing because tougher sentencing equals per day money to them. And at least at the Shelby County level, it costs $83 per day for you to be incarcerated. That's an incentive. Now, Carl Dean, because your political party asked, Carl Dean said on day one, he will not engage any new private prisons. And the ones that, whose contracts are expiring and everything, he would see about looking to winding those down and phasing those out because, there's nobody harder than me, tougher than me on if you do something serious should happen to you. But we're not doing that. We're just locking people up for anything and everything. Hey, your driver's license suspended, jail. You have a small marijuana cigarette, jail. You are 1 month late on your child support. Not help you get a job to help you pay for your child support, but jail, so you can't pay your child support. Stuff like that makes no sense, but it's filling the prisons. It's filling the coffers. It's making $83 a day per person to the private prison industry. And we have to, like I said, we have to re-examine jail, and we have to look at it for what is the best use of prison. Because I'm not going to tell you we don't need it, but
we need prison reform.
Yeah, who needs to be locked up, and we need to start there. Not let's lock them up.
Donald Trump. There's our intersections that go along with prison. So if you deprive people from access to certain things, which a source of living, and once you get this felon, they can't get a job anymore because you got to check the box on the application.
Yeah, I always talk about felonies as if you give a mouse a cookie.
You can get.
If you give a mouse a cookie, they want a glass of milk. They want a glass of milk. If you remember the story, it ends with he all does varying things with the person throughout the day, and then at the end of the story, you have a pet for life. That's what a felony does to you. You have a pet for life. So, for example, if you take someone, and it's all part of it's a systemic process where you take someone's driver's license, they get late for work. They get late for work, they use their job, they lose their job. They lose their job, they start driving with or without a suspended license. They commit some low level of crime. They go to jail. They go to jail to get out of jail. They're already behind. They're behind their bills, they're behind everything. They do a higher crime. They go to more jail. And 3 strikes, you're out. So pet for life. I mean, and that kind of stuff we don't need to be funneling people into prison. We need to be funneling people into economic advantage because I guarantee you 99.9999% of people will not choose crime if another choice is accessible and presentable to them. But you might ask me, what can a political party, what can a committee person, what can any of these politicians do about that? They can financially incentivize prison and funnel people into economic advantage and jobs and things like that, and everybody wins. You gain a taxpayer. Taxpayers pay the taxes. The taxes pay the public coffers. I mean, but you have to shift the paradigm of how the public sector operates now and how those criminal pieces of legislation are geared towards. And as somebody who writes the platform, writes those themes, I'd definitely start there.
Well, you heard it here first from George. So, George, let's tell the listeners another reason they should vote for you. For those who just tuning in, tell them the purpose of the position of the Democratic Executive Committee man in District 29. So let's give them those nuggets and tell them why they should vote and when is the last day to vote. And because I think the polls are closing.
Oh, the polls closed at 4, unfortunately. But you have Election Day, and the cool part about Election Day, everyone loves the symbolism of it. Upwards of 40% plus persons vote on Election Day, and Election Day, it can turn an election for you. So just because you missed early voting does not mean you missed your opportunity, you missed your chance. Election Day. Now I do want to say something else. In Tennessee, you get 3 paid hours off from your employer. That if you notify your employer by noon the day before that you're going to take off, they have to pay you for the 3 hours, and they have to let you go vote. So definitely remember that come up. Remember George Boyington for Democratic Committee man gave it to you, and exercise your right. Now see, here's the thing: if Republicans, if you notice what they did with the one site at the Agri Center and nowhere else, and we had to sue to get that changed. And yes, I was involved in a lawsuit. I'm doing work now, by the way. But thank you. But if you see that they tell you your vote doesn't matter, it's not going to mean anything. Why are you going to go vote anyway? Why would somebody steal something from you that's not precious? Nobody's going and breaking into my car and getting the lint cushions off the floor. They're going to break in the car and see some money on the dash or my laptop or something. People steal valuable things. So if they're trying to take it from you, you got to ask yourself, why would somebody want it? They want to take your. Why? A woman called earlier and said they made it so hard for me to vote. I can't do this. I can't do that. Why would they try to take something that's not valuable?
Absolutely.
So August 2nd is Thursday. Go vote. I mean, if they're trying to take it so hard, take it back, and give it 3 paid hours to do it.
Let's talk about this negative campaigning that we're seeing going around in the city, and we don't want our listeners to get pulled in on any of that propaganda. We want you to understand that this is all a plot, and this is like a tactic that sleazy politicians use, and it's old. And 49, I think I just did that. 49 has kind of just really turned my stomach. Anytime I see somebody launch an attack in part of their campaign strategy, you can keep that. George, don't resort to that.
Goodness, no.
Please.
If you can't raise your money,
right,
articulate your issues, connect with the voters, and do that without cheating, without lying, without slandering, without throwing somebody under the bus, then you probably shouldn't do this. Like I've seen some candidates recently. There they are. They're out there. Like you should be accentuating why you're better than your opponent for policy, why you're better than your opponent for record, not why you're better than your opponent because of race or finances or something personal. And if you don't have anything to say, if you hear somebody on the street saying, I don't like so-and-so because of something personal in his life, if he's not saying something about his policies, about his record, about his service, about what he has done or is going to do, then that should automatically be noise to you, and you should turn that off. And 45, that's all he does. He goes around, he Orange Man, he goes around, he does his stuff, and he just spews hate, and he has put hate into our political lexicon. I mean, even a decade ago, if George W. Bush had gone out there and just had all the things to say bad about people, we would have impeached him. But the lexicon, we've normalized hate, and we've got to walk that back.
Yeah, haven't we normalized it? I mean, to me, it's.
Well, I hope we haven't. I mean, I hope at the ballot box we show that we reject that.
No,
we
they
don't want
have.
It.
They have
normalized it. The mail that they were sent out by David Lenore campaign
I
about
saw that.
Lee Harris darkening his picture and had him throwing up $100 bills like he was in a strip club. It's just really insulting to this.
Making it rain.
Yeah, making it rain to this Yale graduate and this U of M law professor. So it's just really sad.
Yeah, he's managed billions in public expenditures on the state legislature. He's the highest ranking elected Democrat we have in the entire state of Tennessee as the Senate Minority Leader.
Yeah, it's
he
sad.
has, he's not, what they call him, just spin him correct. I forgot what the lexicon was, but they said something about him spending a lot of. No, he didn't. Tennessee has one of the largest surpluses of any state in the entire United States. And if you remember, like I said, Lee Harris was the highest ranking Dem. So, I mean, he managed that kind of money, but he's going to come back to Shelby County and just wreck us. Yeah. Tell me more.
We have a caller. Call you live on the live show on KWAM, the new 107.9. What's on your mind, Eddie?
Hey, Fitz.
Oh, come on now.
I knew.
Dude.
I knew. You people. You people.
So let me tell you, first of all, this campaign that one of the politicians are running is very disgusting. I was very saddened by the fact that the only thing that he was missing from the picture was a grill. Like, it was so disgusting.
I think that's on the next mailer.
Vile that you would have this man on here looking like he's making it rain.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's an African-American, very well educated, very well, experienced person for the job, that shows you how threatened he is.
Now, let me show you how threatened he is. He's on K97. He's on FM
107.1.
He's on 97.5.
107.3.
95.7.
Yeah.
He's on all the black stations.
And in the black churches with these black bootleg.
But I want to pivot for a moment, if I may. I just want to pivot to us. We have the most competent and the most diverse ticket in all of Shelby County history, honestly. We have people who are career administrators and accountants, trying to run for office seats, former trustees trying to get their be trustees again. We have 6 females. We have a very Caucasians, African Americans. We're the picture of diversity. Now go look at their ticket, all white men. And I don't mean that to call out racial disparity, but I mean that to say that our party is the party that's representative of Shelby County, representative of men and women and black and white and young and old and gay and straight. And their party is just
white,
slate all white dudes.
White
and representative of the of the people that they're going to serve.
No, but if you just
it is representative of the people they're going to serve.
No, it's not.
No, I agree with him.
People,
yes,
it is.
Yes.
Their people are all white men. Who they going to serve?
But
don't care about you.
But if you come over and if you take a look at the Democratic ticket, it is representative of all of us. And not to knock any old white men, we have some of those too. We're the party of Shelby County. We're the party of trying to bring you equity. We're the party trying to fight for your job, your health care, your rights. Your right to even have the right to vote. As they tried to take that from you, then went to court and said this was their entire legal argument in court in 9 hours. They didn't even object one time during any of our evidence. They said, well, yes, we know we did it, and we're trying to prove that we didn't talk about exactly doing it. That might be the effect it has. We just don't have enough time to change it. Also, you notice when they were made to change it, they did. There was enough time. It happened. So, I mean, look at us. We're fighting for people's rights, and they're fighting for some type of status quo oligarchy that's weird and hateful and Trumpian and all these kind of things. And I don't know. Just look at the individuals. Be an educated voter. Just take a Republican ballot and a Democratic ballot. They have the pictures on theirs too. Look at theirs. Like, it's truly who represents your interests and who looks like you. A mentor of mine, I'm his political director, Melvin Burgess. He says this a lot. Vote for people that look like you and me. And I'm saying that about our entire ticket. And our ticket for the Democratic side, it really does look like you and me across the board.
Well, you heard it live right here on the radio show. Eddie, you get your last question out?
Call on. Still on.
Who?
Eddie.
He hung up.
So we want to just thank George Boyington, the Democratic Executive Committeeman, District 29, for being in the studio with us and educating our listeners and empowering our listeners and enriching the topic of the radio show. And we got a little closing remark. We want everybody to know that between now and the time we come back on the air next week, we're going to have a new whole county commissioner with, I think it's 8 seats that's coming in.
You'll have 8 seats on the commission, a new mayor, the constitutional officers, assessor on that, a new committee man.
We're going to have a lot of, there's something happening in Shelby County and Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm just want to be on the side of history next Saturday when I come into the studio, looking for change. If not, we still won't give up the fight for change.
Well, also, we need people to rally around individuals who have not voted, carpool to the polls, call for rides, do what you have to do. August 2nd, make sure you get to the polls between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Right.
And make sure you go to the poll in your district, have your identification, state ID, or your voter registration card, so you will not have any issues registering to vote and voting on that day, August the 2nd, which is the Thursday of this week. So make sure you pick somebody up. Go pick the elderly people up. Pick someone up. Take them to vote. Exercise your right, because people have died for the right for you to vote.
Up the vote. Up the vote,
dump the Trump. So we got to do what we have to do to make the change. And if you don't vote, do not open your mouth and complain about anything, because you do not have a right to complain when you do not exercise your right to vote.
I just want to add a little nugget to our listeners also. So if you see something that another candidate is doing to your candidate, instead of complaining about that it's not right, help your candidate out and give them a donation. Give some type of financial contribution to the campaign. Because the Republicans probably will outspend us. That's okay.
George definitely needs some money.
Yeah. So, how can they donate to you, George?
They can go to my website. It's georgeboyington.com. They can go to my Facebook page, George Boyington for TN, Democratic Executive Committee Man, District 29. I have a link to PayPal up there, and I definitely need all the help I can get. I'm fighting a uninvolved but well-financed opponent, and
you say he's uninvolved?
I've been to every party meeting in the last 3 years, and he has not been to one meeting of the new Shelby County Democratic Party. That's just record versus record.
All right.
Lead a party that you don't come to meetings or help out in at all. So I mean, but he's well funded and on all of those advertisement ballots, and I'm trying to get the message out that I'd like my work to continue, and it need a lot of help. We all do, honestly. So if you have a favorite candidate, please give to any of them.
Donate $20, 18 cents, $5, $10. It all adds up.
Well, you heard it here. So tune in next week And this is the live show on KWAM 990 Talk Radio, the new 107.9. We will have new seats everywhere in the county on next week. Get out and vote. August the 2nd is Election Day. That is a Thursday of next